So in all the examples it becomes, I hope, clear, but I think it's necessary to stress it, that it's really about disentanglement. In Buddhism there are three movements which, if we're free of them, we're enlightened. It's not about getting something, it's about getting free of. And these are grasping, clutching hold on, hooking into, aversion, which is like rejecting, feeling disgust, pushing away, and delusion, which is close to illusion. In a way, anything that you think is an absolute truth is an illusion, because you're thinking it. So what that means in attunement through all the different layers is that we really need to create the space to be free of agenda, to really, what Bart talked about, this ability to dive into the unknown, into the not knowing, the unfeelable, the mysterious, to really surrender. Sometimes, and it works both ways, it's like a dive outside. So some people, if they are working with the structure of a God, will kind of ask the universe, ask God, and something will come back. But you can also begin to allow that one inside yourself which is not perceivable, which is always here, not entangled, not changing. It can't be seen because it can't see itself, because it's the source of seeing. It's not far away, it's a constant, but we always choose to be in the feeling, in the impressions, in the grasping or the attachments, until we kind of live here. And when we dive back to this one, which was always here, and allow ourselves to be there, there's a big space created, which means vibration becomes more clear. We get attuned. And then, what we tend to do is get some information. It's like, whoa, and we hold it, we grasp it. Or, if it's information we don't want because it's hitting a wound inside ourselves, we push it away, or we're attracted to it because we don't like it. We get entangled. And then the perception narrows again, and we miss maybe a whole rest of the attunement. We can always go back, but we might miss the real living continuum of it. So it's hard when you're looking for a diagnosis. You know, I want to kind of give an answer. I'm sitting here giving a session, I want to give an answer, but it's not that hard if we allow that everything that comes is an impression. It's a relative impression. It's a possibility. It's not like you say, okay, it's because of this, and I say you have to do this, and it's not. These are possibilities which can be kind of brought forward and checked out together. You dive together into that space. Does it resonate? There's an enormous amount of surrender involved, and I'll just give one short example because we don't want to go on and on and on. Just listening to somebody speaking. So somebody comes in and it's one of the to your practice, and it's, let's say it's a borderline who goes on and on and on, blah, 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 blah. The habitual way we're kind of educated to listen is to grab hold of the stories, and also to pick out what's relevant to me, or where I've got something to say about it. So it's going through very much one aspect of the mind which is not that attuned. It's all based on memory and identification. Oh, I can identify with that. Oh, it's that. Oh, I remember that. This means that. And it's going to a dead place. If we're really open in attunement, we're not even listening to the words. We listen to the sounds of the voice. Without even the language being that important. You can do it in many languages in that sense. Because what's coming through just in the voice is a whole expression of the state of the person. So they can say, I love my mother, I love my mother, I love my mother. But if you take the words, it's okay, she loves her mother. But what you would be hearing if you're not grasping the words is an incredible amount of pain and anger. It's amazing how much we don't need to actually understand the words to get what's going on. When we let the words just go on by themselves without grasping at meaning, meaning forms of itself. We don't need to actively use the mind. It works by itself. And we catch so much more in the refinement. The moment we're grasping, we're losing. It makes total sense, you know. Out of a whole couple of sentences somebody says, they say the word teapot, and you know, we grasp the word teapot, so we lost them with their teapot. But maybe the teapot wasn't the main thing in the story they're telling. Why do we do this? Because we're insecure. And why are we insecure? Fearful. Because we don't have enough consolidation yet in that space beyond fear, which isn't changing, which doesn't have an agenda, which is kind of timeless. What's amazing is the more we kind of move back and let ourselves be that, the attunement happens by itself. It's not something we need to actively do. In a way, doing attunement can really get in the way. Also, what can happen is when we move back into that space of attunement and there are other people involved, the first thing we get is a real need to attune to our own position. But this means, the very fact that this comes forward, and it can happen very quickly, means a space is created between the one that you are, which is the same one that they are, this one which is outside of time and space, and the person which is Georgi. There's a space suddenly. I was Georgi. Yeah. And when this need to attune to the person that's Georgi, before even the other person comes forward, there's a space created. And that space gives a looseness, an agility, which means that actually Georgi can get out the way for now. I'm working. There's a looseness. It's really possible to get out of the way of ourselves. It's quite a relief as well. We get it all back again later. Yeah. It's the same thing with imagination. When we begin to move with vibration, vibrational attunement, and the mind is already not in the picture because we're really in feeling sensation, often you'll get images. These images are reflections, are again impressions, and it can feel like a great vision. You know, I saw this image, I'm getting an image. Don't hold on to it. It's important, it's not random, it's got information, like a thought has information or a voice has information, but it's not absolute. It's an impression. Let all the impressions come. The beautiful thing about making a choice, whenever we remember, to move to the level of feeling the atmosphere, feeling the vibration, we come into the here and now. You can't feel things before or later. You're moving out of the mind.
When we go back, I just missed the first sentence, when you said we come into the here and now.
The moment you move towards feeling sensation, even if it's the physical sensation, like Bart said, of your fingers, you become present. You're out of the mind. And in our culture, we're very kind of educated to glorify the mind, and this is nothing, but There is no way that we can have mental freedom while being caught in the mind. It creates a space where thoughts can be much more attuned themselves, much more directly reflecting what needs to be reflected, what's happening now. Not what will happen later, not whether we have the right diagnosis or not, not what the other is thinking of me, what's happening now. And the mind is really a big grasper. We really need to be free of it. At the very least, because it's got a certain program running which is enslaving us, and it could run 100 different programs in many different dimensions. But it can only do that if it's free.